Happy New Year, everyone. It is 2026, a brand new year. Well, what can I say that 2025 flew by just like that. I mean, I kind of only got started getting used to writing 2025 and now I got to write 2026. So where has all the time gone to? And since it's a brand new year, I thought how about taking a look back at 2025 to see which launches or resale units we have identified throughout the year as good properties and at a good price. Now put it out there like a time capsule and see how this pans out 3 to 4 years later to see if it will turn out well or just bad luck. Disclaimer, whatever I share does not constitute financial advice. It is solely based on my opinion on what is right or wrong. So please do your own due diligence. If you're liking the content so far, please hit the like and subscribe button as your simple gesture will help a lot with the YouTube algorithm. If you are interested to find out more about property related matters, please find all the social media handles I am on, or you can just directly reach out to me on WhatsApp. Separately, I have also set up a Telegram group at the start of the year so that we can have a discussion that we as agents are not allowed to do so online, which is to talk shit. So if you are interested to get into a community that talks about everything under the sun about property, please scan the QR code, or for the boomers out there, I have pasted the link in my description. We're going to close the group invitation in probably a month or 2 times, so head over and I will see you there. Now back to the video. So for those launches that we have identified that are blockbusters, I will specifically pick out some exact choice units that we have made and the reasons why we have decided to pull the trigger on such. Now, I'm not gonna list every single one out there, but I will probably give you like 3 to 4 examples of those clear-cut no-brainer ones for each segment. I mean, there's a lot to bring out, but for the sake of a video that isn't too long, 4 picks each segment should be enough. As for resale, that's where I will usually send out a message to my Telegram group like this, letting them know I'm onto something in a specific location or price range. And because most people who prefers resale tend to buy one for own use, and naturally that comes with emotions. So sometimes a good deal might be there for taking, but they can't bring themselves to like it because of that emotional factor. So no right, no wrong. As for investors, we tend to act on it quickly. I share with them the unit details. I share why I think this is a good option. I share the downside risk, upside potential. Then the ball is in your court. So yes, if you're still not in our Telegram group, head over. QR code is here. We are already close to 1,000 strong in numbers. And of course, with so many people, there's bound to be some arguments and debates along the way. But if you are looking for a community there's a fair bit of interactions on top of my occasional resale lobangs, you might just want to head over. So let's do it this way. I'm just gonna talk about the new launches and resale ones separately. Now, this option varies across different price range. Again, I will share almost exact unit types, price range, and the reason why. So first up, new launch options. And first up on the top of my list, okay, I mean, it's not gonna be in any order. It has to be none other than the 5-bedroom units at Tembusu Grand and Grand Taman. Now, if you prefer to listen to a more draggy version, I did one video where there was still plenty of units left and a lot of people were quite skeptical about it at first, but somehow after that went online, it was almost sold out in the following months. I hope it's purely coincidental, but that flew off the shelves quite quickly. So here's the TLDR version. Now, strike range is $4.05 to $4.1 million, 5-bedroom in the RCR region. One is beside the MRT, then the other is 7 to 8 minute walk away. Now, the entire East Coast 3-bedrooms were generally already hitting like $3.5 to $4.2 million. Of course, those are mainly freehold units, but in exchange of that freehold tenure, you get a 5-bedroom at almost a 3-bedroom price. And guess what? This is also the school zone area. I mean, East Coast, it's a lively area for sure, but if there's one negative thing about the East Coast, I would say that there's not much popular schools. So this kind of gives you an added advantage lah. Not that schools are everything, but if you have schools plus whatever that East Coast has to offer, then demand will be stronger. And I dare to say at this point of recording, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of buyers out there who are banging on the table because they kind of missed this. But don't worry lah, there's always something better. Now, second on the list is Nava Grove and Pine Tree Hill 4-bedroom between $3.1 to $3.2 million. It's specifically the 1335 square feet at Nava Grove and the 1292 square feet at Pine Tree Hill. Both are contrasting layouts to one another. One is a portrait layout, the other it's a landscape with private lift. One has 10 square meter bedrooms and the other has about 9 square meter rooms. Both are solid projects, of course, and both layouts really has their strengths. Whatever it is, $3.1 to $3.2 million for a proper 4-bedroom in an atas full residential location like Pine Grove with the presence of Henry Park Primary, it's going to look like a steal in the next few years. Now, I say this not because I'm a Pine Tree Hill owner, who you guys might think is slightly biased, but this really is a very unbiased opinion. Again, for those who are particular on convenience and amenities, then this one is not for you. But if you're okay with it, then the value of it is going to be hard to miss. Now, this too was mostly taken up at the start of 2025. Now, another good thing is Pine Tree Hill is going to TOP soon in about half year time, I think, or at most 8-9 months. So we are very excited in anticipation of the key collection. Now, third up is 5 bedrooms at Faber Residences, $3.2 to $3.3 million, and the 4 bedrooms at between $2.3 to $2.4 million. For the 5 bedrooms overlooking the river or Longkang, 1 km to Nanhua Primary, a low density development, there are fortunately couple of units left still. One of the cheapest 5 bedrooms in the entire island at the moment. Again, like Pine Tree and Nava Grove, this is not near any MRT. I mean, some people will say that it's a decent walk to the new Jurong regional line, but you know what? This is as good as not being near any MRT lah. So, large plot, good facing, good school, reputable developers, surrounded by landed properties, 2,200 per square foot, cheapest island-wide. If you tell me this is expensive, then nothing is cheaper than this. Everything is expensive. Again, there are still units left. If you're shopping around and not sure what to really get in this budget range, you might want to check this out. Now, as for the 4 bedrooms that were all sold out at $2.35 to $2.4 million, it was an incredible steal. Nowadays, a 3-bedroom premium already hitting that range or higher. Again, a pretty good layout overall. The biggest selling point for this is really about getting a 4-bedroom at a price much closer to everywhere else's 3-bedroom. Now, the downside risk for this is really very low. And that's all we can here at Pocketview. Covering your downside risk in a bull market sounds easy, right? But trust me, it isn't. Now, fourth choice is Lentor Central Residences. Now, 4-bedroom compact, 1184 square feet to be exact, between $2.4 to $2.5 million. At that range, come on, it is dirt cheap. Efficient layout, right smack across Lentor, Modern, and the mall itself. Good facing, 2050 per square foot, post-harmonized. 2.4 to 2.5 is way lower than the average 4-bedroom of about $2.8 to $3 million in the entire Lentor Township. Like the Faber Residences 4-bedroom, this is seriously selling close to 3-bedroom price. Not much to take away from you, amazing entry level, zero downside risk. On hindsight, Lentor Modern is starting to see sub-sale transactions, not 1, not 2, more like 3 or 4, where you see the 3-bedroom flexi, also known as like a 3 compact already selling at 2.4 to 2.45. And you got your 4-bedroom at the same range. I mean, come on, man. What else do I need to say? Now, notice all my choice picks are usually in the OCR or the RCR region at most. Firstly, my picks are being positioned from a pure investment point of view. And I will stand by my point that I feel that the market will still be dominated by mostly HDB upgraders in the years to come, and that the CCR region is somewhat still a lavish option. A choice that probably will involve quite some bit of emotions like Zion Grand, 3 or 4 bedrooms for an example, $3 to $3.2 million and $3.9 to $4.2 million range respectively. Is it the best investment around? Probably not. But is it the best option both from an investment and an emotional point of view? Yes, I think so. Why not? Again, I comment from a pure investment point of view. It doesn't represent the opinions of Prognex. If anything that I've said so far turns you off in any ways, and because I think HDB upgraders are still going to be the key support of the market in the coming years. Now, I know there's a few people that pointed out that the influx of BTOs in the coming years, there's going to MOP is going to be huge and then causing HDB prices to stay flat or even drop. So what do I think about that? Pretty much in line with whatever that everyone else is predicting. I believe the HDB prices is poised to correct itself or at least stay flat in the coming years. But guess what? You have more people potentially coming into the market to upgrade. Yes, the prices of the HDB flats might stay flat or come down, but mind you, this group of people whose HDB were MOP in 2026 or 2027 got the keys to their flat when? 5 years ago in 2021 to 2022, right? Which also means that their BTO exercise was likely between like 2017 to 2018, where resale HDB prices were still very low back then and BTO flat prices were also relatively low. Even if HDB stays flat, most of them still sits on very sizable proceeds and profit. Now, is it going to stop them from upgrading? No. Hence, the two conflicting factors of higher BTO units that's going to MOP versus the price coming down. Yes, I think it will come down potentially, but the amount of people coming out to buy will be higher also lah. I still see this as the bedrock for private properties starting from the base of the market, which is the OCR region, so on and so forth lah. I mean, I also know I deviate so much from the original topic, but I thought I will just cover this just in case I miss in the coming videos. Okay, back to the options we pick in 2025, on to the more exciting part, which is the resale options. And because I know a lot of people here are trained to evaluate like new launch, and the skill to look at resale is much less common. Fortunately or unfortunately, my bread and butter is in the resale market. I walk the ground, I deal with sellers, I deal with buyers almost on a day-to-day basis. You can analyze things on the surface level, but I give you real-life data and rejected prices lah. The market sees transacted prices. They don't see the behind-the-scenes section, and that's where the most experience can be gained. Of course, this focus also allows me to evaluate not only on resale, but all properties in general in my QPE framework. Before I start, I want to remind you that resale will always look cheaper comparatively to new launch. But trust me, it is cheaper, but it is not cheap either. So let's look at some of the examples we have picked out. Number one, this is for the landed buyers out there, Sunshine Terrace. Now, I'm not going to reveal the unit number due to PDPA, but it was a terrace along that street. $3.7 million for old 2-story house that doesn't need rebuilding. First thing, I love the location. It's in a quiet street, but just one street behind is actually a smaller road with the main road sitting just in front of it. And crossing just the opposite leads you to the HDBs, and through this direction, it takes you like maybe 5 minutes walk to next mall at Serangoon MRT. If you drive, then it's also connected seamlessly to CT via Braddell Road, and it's actually just close to everywhere lah. You also a 5 minutes drive to another mall in Wood Lake. Now, some specification of the terrace, the width of the house, if I can recall correctly, is slightly above 6.5 meters. That is much wider than the usual terrace. 2-story, layout's pretty good. I mean, it's an old house, but if you spend some money to just spruce the property up, I believe 300 to 400k kind should be enough. Good thing is that it's also 1km within Maristella. Unit number doesn't come with a fall, no afternoon sun, no road noise, even though we are somewhat closer to the main road. So in theory, I can't really fault one bit of the house except the condition, which I mentioned should set you back some money to yield up to proper condition. This is an amazing entry level for a sizable landed with great convenience and amenities. I think if you do a good job doing up the interiors nicely, this could easily be like 5 million plus in the next 4 to 5 years. This is of course a guess, but a pretty calculated take on what I think it will be in the future. Now we start to hunt for a landed, you need to understand that it's not as straightforward as like looking for a condo unit, because every house, whether it's like side by side or not, it's different. Every house tells a different story. Facing is important, house number is important, direction is important, layout is, if you can get something that kind of checks all boxes and if the price is just about right, then it's a piece of value buy now. So that is the number one option that we busted out last year. Onwards to number two. Now this belongs to the newest boy in the block in the west, and of course, Low floor, 4-bedroom, 1281 square feet at around $2.5 million. Layout's pretty clean. Of course, Cleveland is almost brand new. The rents here were easily fetched between $7,000 to $7,500, which is a decent yield of about 3.5%. Now, why this makes it such an interesting choice is the price. If I use my QPE framework, Cleveland checks the quality and exit strategy easily. For those who have visited, you will know. Then actually, everything else is highly dependent on the price. And in this instance, $2.5 million is actually a 3-bedroom price at Cleveland itself. If you look at the last few transactions, it got transacted at around $2.48 and $2.5 million. So if you're looking for a 4-bedroom at the same price as like a 3-bedroom except you're on the lower floor, then doesn't this make sense? I mean, okay, fine, it's on the lower floor, so it might take a little bit longer to move in the future, and some might say that the views might be restricted, sure, but if you know Cleveland well enough, actually even the lower floors have like a nice view of the pool. And I think one more reason is also because of the ongoing construction at Alta within site, so it's quite noisy. You will suffer for about like maybe 2 more years or so, and when the Alta is completed, it should shield the noise coming from the expressway somewhat and then you will get a nice view of Cleveland Pool and Alta facade on the corner of your eyes on the left hand side. That's not too bad. Given Alta's 4 bedrooms are already transacting between $2.9 to $3.5 million, while the higher floor units at Cleveland has already done at $2.8 to $2.9 million. Heck, even some Alta 3-bedroom high floors are already doing at $2.5, $2.6 million. This, to me, is a safe buy. And because it's a 4-bedroom that is relatively new, I don't see the exit being a problem in about 3 to 4 years' time. Collect rental along the way, and this is a pretty good resale option for buyers out there. On to number 3, and number 3 brings us all the way to the deep east. Pasir Ris, and in particular, an XEC in Malaysia. What you need is that is the 1,335 square feet 4-bedroom with 3 toilets. Sizable bedrooms, spacious master landscape layout. Not only that, it's a landscape that has a separate dining. Now, look at this. This is what I call a proper layout. Something most developers don't build these days. I wonder why. And yes, before you jump on me, for those who've explored this area before, yes, it is not near the MRT. In fact, the walk is close to 15-16 minutes. Now, if you want to be close to the MRT, then probably the likes of Coco Palms, Dinas might work better. But here comes the catch, and I'll break it down into 2 points. Point number 1, the layout. Let's look at Coco Palms' layout. In essence, the layout are very similar to Malaysia at first glance, but if you take a hard look at it, it is not a balcony, it's just a planter. Of course, it looks the same, but the difference between a planter and a balcony is the balcony depths are usually much wider and is usually on level grounds. Planters are sunken in downwards. Now, in this manner, you have to just probably put a wooden deck to flush it. In situations like this, when there's only a planter box, the balcony railing is typically lower. Okay, so that's quite hazardous for people like me. So I thought I'd share this sort of stuff. Quick look at the Dinas layout also shows the same issues, and because the Dinas and Coco Palms are built in the annoying era where bay windows was the in thing, basically you can get a 1,378 square feet that's also a landscape layout, but without a separate dining. Rooms are much smaller with the bay windows. Bedroom 3 can't really put queen size bed in, of course. A master is fairly huge. Dinas also same, that one annoying room that is like whatever storage place. Hence, I think it's quite fair to say that the Malaysia layout is one of the better ones in the neighborhood, right? And on to point number 2, which is the most important thing, the price. All the 4 bedrooms in that cluster easily transact above $2 million, and more in the range of like $2.2 to $2.3 million. And for what? Convenience law. It's all closer to MRT, and not to forget their land plot is bigger, but at close to 4 to 500k for that inconvenience. Is it worth it? Maybe. But ask myself this question: Pasir Ris upgraders looking to buy a 4-bedroom in the future, are they people who are willing to pay a premium for the convenience for the MRT, or would they want to get a much better layout, save 4 to 500k and get it like 1.7x million dollars, which is coincidentally one of the cheapest 4-bedroom in the northeast and east region, and almost the entire island apart from the north. And then you are given whatever that is happening nearby at Orel and Parktown, selling at 1,600 to 1,800 per square foot for the EC and 2,200 to 2,004 for integrated development, while we pay close to 1,300 per square foot. Then the per square foot looks good, or entry level looks safe, layout is good. Condo slightly a little bit smaller, or at the expense of convenience. I don't know, man. It's really not difficult for this to slowly push its way up to narrow the gap slightly. And I'm willing to bet my money that this is probably something people will pay attention to when they start searching around the Pasir Ris area. And with rents hitting like 5.5k there, about 3.7 to 3.8% yield is not too bad. Pretty good returns, I would say. It's definitely a good option for people who are on the defensive looking for a safe bet with decent returns. And because 4 bedrooms are usually held tightly by homeowners, renting it or selling it at any point of time shouldn't pose too much of a problem beyond just the price. Huh? Not bad, right? And last one, number 4, and it's also a bonus for the landed buyers out there. Definitely one with much deeper pocket. A semi-detached at around $5.5 million around Mayflower area. The land is around 3,400 square feet, built up is about 2,000 plus, comes with an amazing garden. Again, it's a 2-story very old house that has like 4 bedrooms on top. No granny's room on level 1, but it's something you can easily reconfigure without compromising on much lah. Now, when you buy a semi-detached, it's very important to have a couple of things. Like for me, I feel it's something that cannot be compromised. Number 1 is granny room on level 1, because very often there could be an elder parent or parents living with the family together. Number 2, 5 bedrooms minimally, inclusive of the granny's room, a nice garden and a nicely done up house. I know these families looking for semi-D these days can make do without too many rooms, but what they really want is a well-renovated house with a proper garden and nice landscaping. Once you have all these characteristics, then whatever house you look for is good to go fundamentally. So it's another classic case of like spending probably 400 to 500k to gut the interiors of the house, because the skeleton is pretty solid. Solid in what way? The width of the house is 12 meters. 12 meters, it's pretty wide for a semi-detached. Most of them is like maybe 8, 9, 10 or maximum 11. North-south facing, a quiet road that leads to kind of nowhere. It's like a loop lah. And yet you're only a few minutes walk to Mayflower Food Center, the Ang Mo Kio Park, and even the MRT. This is a plus point for landed buyers looking for convenience, because very often than not, most landed enclaves are very inaccessible. Oh, you realize that? Not close to anything one. Of course, I know some landed owners dislike convenience, because with convenience, it typically comes with higher footfall. With higher footfall means that it's not as exclusive or quiet lah. In this instance, you are at a good enough distance from all this convenience and yet still maintain a level of exclusivity. As for pricing, most terraces were already transacting between like the $4.4 to $4.8 million range for a decent looking house around the same neighborhood. So at $5.5 million, this is a proper sized semi-D selling and close to a terrace price. So just spend on the right stuff in the house, and I don't see how this will not appreciate a lot in the future. And yes, if I had sold my landed on time, I confirm buy this one anytime. But I guess time was my biggest enemy. What a pity. So there you have it, some of the notable new launches and resale options that we actively look out for, because of my job is to consistently be looking out for such deals while my clients take a backseat lah. Now, when most of you guys will reach out to me for consultation, it's always almost certainly a 2 to 3 hours sort of session where we iron out what you really want or need. And then my parting speech to them will always be like this: don't worry, just leave everything to me. Now, if there's a right unit within our scope or perimeters, I'll let you know. If you don't get a call from me, just wait for one, because there's no need to rush. When the right one comes along, I'll let you know, because I don't bring you on an unnecessary visit to different condos. We'll make this property hunt much more targeted and optimized. I'll tell you what's good and what's not so good for you to be your own judge, because why? Property buying is meant to be enjoyable. You go around not knowing what you want or need, is going to give you what we call buyer's fatigue easily. And then you see 100 units or plus, then you haven't bought a unit, so likely more confused, right? So that's what I've been doing for the longest time. Of course, you have got to trust me on what I'm doing, otherwise you just go find someone else. Then again, occasionally I will also blast out some good deals as well, what I shared at the start of the video to the community. Again, you have missed that, and here's the QR code to scan. So finally, whether it's new launch or resale, there's always good deals and there's always bad deals. There's good location with bad deals and there's also bad location with good deals. I'm putting on this option to show you that both segments are alike. There will be value buys and the rationale behind each option. Of course, I'm not God. I cannot be 100% sure like these 8 choices of both resale and new launch confirm make money. But if you start to look at your downside risk, I repeat a couple of times, look at your downside risk, look at your downside risk, look at your downside risk. In a bull market like what we are in now, the safer it is, the more upside potential there will be. So for the year of 2026, things are likely going to be more expensive. Don't buy new launches just because some people say it's very profitable. Don't buy resale just because your agent or uncle, auntie say that resale has made a lot of money in the past 4 or 5 years. Both has its risks. Do your homework and reach out to us if you are confused. And we'll see how we can help. Before we end the video, it's 2026 already, so here's us at Pocketview wishing everyone who is watching this a very happy 2026 with the best of wealth and health.